Welcome back. You are watching The Core, coming to you live from Channels Television Studios in Abuja, and we are discussing the Petroleum Industry Bill. Now, before the break, I told you that we were expecting the Chairman House Committee on the downstream sector, Honorable Joseph Akilaja. I'm glad to say he's joined us in the studio. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Right. Prior to you coming in, we started a conversation with the distinguished senator about the fact that they had passed one portion of the PIB, namely the PIGB. And he said he was confident that working with the House of Reps, there was a possibility that this particular National Assembly would make the PIB law. My question to you, though, is that we understand that you've talked about the fact that you do not want to pass a bill that is piecemeal, and you're looking at a whole bill. So given that the Senate has passed a bill that is a part, and you're talking about whole bill, what is really the position of the House on this matter?
Well, up front, we have a working agreement with the Senate where we have to concur, through a conference, joint conference. But in the House, we are taking the whole bill together in one fell swoop. The issue of governance, the issue of fiscal framework, and also the issue of community. We have three bills, that we're going to take at the same time, and consider all of them together. But we believe that for petroleum industry bill or the act to succeed, the community interest must be taken into consideration.
But this approach was the approach that the last House of Reps took, and even though it passed the PIB, it failed to become law. And the Senate is saying it is in recognition of some of those difficulties that they've decided the strategy is to do the bill in parts. Are you not taking past history into account?
We are taking into account. If you recollect, the PIB in the 7th Assembly in the House of Representatives was passed at the twilight of the end. At the twilight of that 7th Assembly. So there was no time to discuss with the Senate to the point they reached. So there was no problem. We passed it. And even what we passed is an input to what we have, presently. We went through a big stakeholders summit, where we took all experiences into consideration, whether it's the Venezuela model, whether it's the Brazilian model or the Norwegian model. All the experts, came, and from the experience we ourselves had, from UNPADEC to NPDC, from derivation to even from when Shell Darcy came in 1956, the Oil Act, of 1956, we took all this into consideration before we came up with these bills. And we believe this is the midterm. We are just in the midterm. We are going to finish it, and it's going to become an act, even with the Senate. So it's not taking all three together is not going to be a problem this time around, because we have the time.
You have the time to do what exactly? To convince people that the contentious issues, which still exist,
it does. It's a matter of interest. Balance the interest of everybody, the interest of the community, the type of government of the industry.
How confident are you, Senator, that this strategy is going to work, of trying to do the bill holistically as a whole?
Well, we have taken our decision that the bill should be passed piecemeal, and that will make it easier. And what we have done had been commended by Nigerians and the international community. And I feel that the House of Representatives, as a house representing the interests of Nigerians, would look at the mood of the people and do what Nigerians want. Let us move forward. If we had failed to do something in 9 years, or even more, and we are trying to go the same route, we may find it a little bit difficult to achieve. Okay. But I believe we have worked together in this National Assembly seamlessly. And I think this one will also come to that level.
And I think before we finish this program and once we allow the audience to get involved, I'd like us to come back to this issue of whether it's actually feasible to pass this bill, this particular period. But before then, I think I'd like us to actually look at the PIGB first and perhaps then the PIB, just to give Nigerians a sense of what it is exactly that we're talking about. So if you look at the PIGB as passed by the Senate, there are some significant changes in the way it is set up. For example, the Minister of Petroleum's role is now that of a national petroleum policy driver rather than a minister, and he has no regulatory powers any longer. He also cannot grant, amend, renew, extend, and revoke licenses, as is the case currently. Is that acceptable, Mr. Adeni?
We think there are issues there, really. And without going into detail, we believe that you still need to have a situation where the regulator is supervised. And to the extent that it's a minister's role to supervise a sector, right, then you've got to have a way in which you have some oversight over the whole process. So, yes, we do need some level of independent regulation, right? So don't get me wrong on that, right? But you need to have a situation where there's ultimate recourse, right, to the minister when things go wrong.
Why the minister? Why not the National Assembly, which is actually the representative of the people, or even the courts?
Well, the National Assembly makes law. The president, by the Constitution, runs the executive. Ministers are appointed to act for the president in respect of any sector. So that's why the minister really needs to be able to have oversight over the sector. So that's the constitutional role, actually.